Running an automated e-commerce brand is basically a dream for every single e-commerce store owner out there, especially when you can get results like these ones right here on my screen, $1.7 million in a period of 2 years, or results like these, $4 million in a single year, or maybe, a return on ad spend like this, where you're getting a 4x ROAS, a 5x ROAS, 10x ROAS even, consistently all on autopilot. I mean, what kind of e-commerce store owner would not want that kind of consistency on full automation? But unfortunately, the case and the reality of 99% of e-commerce store owners is they are nowhere close to full-on automation with their e-commerce brand, especially when it comes to Google Ads. So what is the reality behind automation? How can you personally achieve automation, or at least a certain level of automation when it comes to your e-commerce brands, especially with Google Ads? Now, trust me when I say this, I was not born with some special talent, or maybe I was, I'm not sure of, but in reality, I really wasn't born with some special talent. I don't necessarily have access to any additional resources as much as you might as a normal e-commerce store owner, or these e-commerce brands, which I just showed you. By the way, some of them are clients' e-commerce brands under my Google Ads agency, Your Marketing, which if you're currently doing $30,000 or more per month in revenue and you need a little bit of extra help scaling to the next level with Google Ads, go onto my website at yourmarketing.com and book a free call with me to see how we can possibly work together and make it happen. But there is nothing too crazy or too special about these e-commerce brands either. The main thing that differentiates these automated e-commerce brands and the rest of those out there is certain phases and certain flows. So let's start off with the basic. You want to understand that every e-commerce brand, regardless of what niche, industry, product it is in or it sells, it needs to go through certain phases. There are different phases within each e-commerce brand, but in general, they kind of align with each other. Let's start off with the initial phase. So with the initial phase of an e-commerce brand, by the way, this is the phase where you might be at around $30,000 per month in revenue or less than that. This is where there are a lot of manual work goes into the e-commerce brand. You might be the CEO and the owner of that e-commerce brand. However, it doesn't really feel like that, because I mean, you're doing this, you're doing that, you're just busy every single day. Essentially, what's happening during this initial phase is you are wearing a lot of hats, and you might have a few VAs. Don't get me wrong. There might be team members that are currently working with you, but at the end of the day, the main responsibility is on you. If you are not, there's a very good chance that things might not get done properly during that time period. So that's essentially what the initial phase is. A lot of e-commerce brands just get stuck in this phase where the owner, the CEO, is unable to take himself or herself out of that company. So this is exactly when the automation begins. This is when the next phase of growth for your e-commerce brand begins, especially with Google Ads. And by the way, I take all of my brands basically through a funnel. I like to think of this as a funnel to ensure proper roles are getting fulfilled, to ensure proper tasks are getting done so that my brand and everything associated with it can work towards this level of automation. So what I like to do with this funnel is I like to take a bottom-up approach rather than a top-down approach. And here's how this is different. So I start off by outsourcing, or basically getting other people, other softwares, other things to do my tasks, which are the easiest first. The top-down funnel is where the top view is the most broad one. That's when you can basically outsource a bunch of different things or a bunch of different tasks to one person, so they might be doing all of those tasks together. No, instead, I like to go from the narrow tube that's at the very bottom of that funnel and then work my way upwards and ask myself a few questions, such as what needs to be outsourced at this given moment to automate my full-on e-commerce brand, to automate my Google Ads campaigns. And automation with Google Ads doesn't just kind of rely on Google Ads campaigns itself. There's a lot of other things that need to get done in order to then reach a level of automation when it comes to Google Ads specifically. But from the bottom-up approach, this is where I start outsourcing tasks like customer service, emails, phone calls, all of the easy day-to-day tasks get done by somebody else, because my time would be rather spent on the more valuable stuff, on the stuff that's gonna drive in results, that's gonna drive in sales. Obviously with Google Ads, you running the campaigns, you doing feed optimization, you adding products, those are the main things that kind of drive the results. So in the beginning, the first step of my bottom-up approach is to basically outsourcing every single task out there which does not give me the level of return that I want. Now, don't get me wrong, customer service and everything else associated with that is super important, but it's really not as important as you getting customers through the door. I mean, if you're not getting anybody through the door, who are you going to offer customer service to? So you got to understand and make sure that those tasks are getting done fully. And then this brings me to the Google Ads automation side of things. Now, there are different ways for you to actually begin the automation things when it comes to Google Ads. The first and the most easiest way for you is to actually just outsource that completely. That's why I run currently a Google Ads agency where I take on e-commerce brands currently doing $30,000 or more per month in revenue, and I basically work with them to handle their Google Ads for them. So the CEO or owner of that brand can then go out and do other tasks like find better products, make deals with other bigger influencers, or expand onto other platforms rather than just focusing on one ad platform. Because I know that I said Google Ads and running campaigns is super important, but if you want to build a real sustainable long-term brand, you should not be just putting your eyeballs down on your Google Ads campaigns and looking at these beautiful charts every single day. Because I mean, if we look at this specific account right here, look at all of the campaigns. Currently, there are only 29 campaigns on this list, but if we scroll all the way down, ad account is working with only 29 campaigns. But even then, can you imagine one single person taking care of 29 different campaigns? And that's just really the starting amount. There's a lot of ad accounts right here. If we just dive deeper, a bit further into the overall time period and look at all of the campaigns, we can see that overall there's a bunch of campaigns which get turned off at any given time because there's a lot of tests done during that period of time. So for example, within this ad account right here, there's 127 different campaigns, hence why this ad account was able to generate about $4 million. This number right here, not fully accurate. So as you can see, the higher up you go in the scale, the more you're testing, the more campaigns you have running at any given time. And one person handling 100 plus campaigns, it's virtually impossible. So this is really when you want to scale to the next level, you either outsource it or you just kind of forget about everything else and do it yourself, which by the way, you can if you want to save money. So even if you get to that 30K level, you can just handle things on your own, which brings me to the second point of automation, how to automate with Google Ads. It's basically through relying more on smart bidding options. So as we all know, there's a lot of different kinds of campaigns you can run. You can run display campaigns, you can run dynamic remarketing campaigns, shopping campaigns, search campaigns, and so on and so forth. But the reality of automation with Google Ads is you cannot run multiple of these campaigns on manual bidding types, because with just one campaign alone, let's say you have one standard shopping campaign that is running on manual CPC and you have 5,000 SKUs. There is no way you have enough time in a given day to handle the bids individually per product, per SKU when you have 5,000 in total. That's just unrealistic. And if you are doing that, I mean, good luck to your business. But in reality, that doesn't make sense and it's a waste of time. So instead, what you do is you rely more on Google's automated bidding options, where Google now decides your bids for you, it decides the keywords for you. So you're not doing the nitty-gritty details of the campaign every single second of every single day. It's just, again, really unrealistic. So you want to then kind of move more towards the smart bidding based optimizations. And even if you have a few shopping campaigns running that are maybe standard shopping, you have other campaign types which are basic manual CPC or maximize clicks related campaigns, you want to only really be optimizing once or maximum twice per week, regardless of what your budget is. I mean, I used to kind of panic before. I used to think that if I'm not optimizing enough, if my budget is $500 a day, my campaign is gonna go to ruins, it's gonna eat up all my budget, and I'm gonna be left bankrupt. That is far from the case. In fact, in the initial time period, if you just optimize 2 to maybe even 3 times, if your budget is super high per week, you can kind of let Google's algorithm do its thing, because over time, that campaign starts to become extremely smart. I mean, I've never seen such a smart campaign type in my life, and trust me, there is no human out there that can beat Google's algorithm when it comes to deciding the bids, deciding the keywords, and so on and so forth. So as it starts to become smarter and smarter, you only really need to be looking into it once, maximum twice per week. So that's the beauty about relying more on smart bidding. You just kind of are able to take more of your control away from there. You don't need to worry about the nitty-gritty details. In the meantime, while your campaigns are automated fully and running on smart-based bidding options, that just kind of saved up a lot of time for you. It opened up a lot of time slots. You want to spend that time now doing other things that your business needs, like adding more products, looking into other sourcing agent, looking into other sourcing suppliers, adding advertising platforms, and so on and so forth. But ideally, your Google Ads campaigns by this time should be fully automated. And as you continue to do these other things, as you continue to get more and more results, you should also look into outsourcing, having somebody else do the product sourcing for you, or maybe have somebody else kind of look into doing other ad platforms for you. This is where you really outsource the business as a whole rather than just focusing on that small part, which is Google Ads. I mean, it is important to outsource Google Ads first and automate that before you can automate your e-commerce brand as a whole. But by the time your Google Ads campaigns are running on full capacity, this is what I see, by the way, with a lot of e-commerce brands I handle under my Google Ads agency or marketing. Campaigns are fully running on automation. The CEO or the owner doesn't really have to do the nitty-gritty details, so it opens them up to different ways to scale their e-commerce brand. And by that time, already a lot of the basic everyday essential roles are fully automated. So this means their e-commerce brand is running on full automation. Even if they're not there on any given day, their e-commerce brand will continue to run. But don't get me wrong, as a CEO, even me personally, I still like to check with what my team members are doing. I still go daily and make sure there are no kind of issues going on in the back end. There's no issues with the products, with the campaigns, and all of that stuff. But now, because I have fully automated my e-commerce brands through proper strategic approaches with my Google Ads campaigns, through making sure I'm mostly using smart-based bidding, through making sure everything is properly set up so that I don't have to go in and kind of check things manually every single day, like with manual CPC campaigns or anything like that. I'm now able to scale the brand to a whole new level with proper systems in place. And that's essentially how I'm able to run full-on automated e-commerce brands with Google Ads. Again, Google Ads is a small piece of the pie. You need to have everything right in order to make your Google Ads campaigns actually work on automation without you being there every single day. But again, if you run an e-commerce brand that does about $30,000 or more per month in revenue, you need a little bit of extra help scaling to the next level with Google Ads. Go out to my website at yourmarketing.com and book a free call with me to see how we can make that happen. But if you found any type of value in this video, smash that like button, smash that subscribe button, and watch any of these two videos right in front of my face that can help you with your Google Ads journey. And I will see you in my next video.